In the year 2042, the world as we knew it was gone. A devastating pandemic, dubbed the Crimson Scourge, had swept across the globe, leaving a trail of death and destruction in its wake. Hospitals were overwhelmed, cities were quarantined, and governments were paralyzed. The once familiar hum of human activity was reduced to an eerie silence, punctuated only by the mournful wail of sirens and the hushed whispers of survivors. The Crimson Scourge was a relentless foe, targeting men with a ruthless efficiency that baffled even the most seasoned virologists. It attacked the male reproductive system, rendering men sterile and eventually causing their deaths. Within a matter of months, the male population had been decimated, leaving the world a desolate landscape dominated by women. In the aftermath of the pandemic, women were left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. They mourned the loss of their loved ones, grappled with the abrupt disruption of their societal norms, and faced the daunting task of rebuilding a world without men. In the face of adversity, the women of the world displayed remarkable resilience and ingenuity. They banded together, forming new communities and sharing their skills and knowledge. They learned to adapt to their new circumstances, taking on roles that had traditionally been reserved for men. A new society emerged, one that was shaped by the unique experiences and perspectives of women. It was a society that was free from the constraints of traditional gender roles, where women were empowered to pursue their dreams and aspirations without fear of prejudice or discrimination. This new world, devoid of men's aggression and violence, seemed like a utopia. Crime rates plummeted, wars ceased to exist, and a sense of harmony prevailed. Women worked together in harmony, sharing resources and knowledge, creating a society that was truly fair and just. But beneath the surface of this idyllic utopia, a dark undercurrent was brewing, a hidden force that threatened to shatter this fragile peace. One fateful day, a group of scientists made a startling discovery that would forever alter the course of human history. They unearthed evidence of a strange mutation in the DNA of all women, a mutation that had been dormant for centuries but was now beginning to manifest itself. This mutation was subtle, almost imperceptible, but its effects were profound. It was altering the very essence of womanhood, enhancing certain traits while suppressing others. It was making women stronger, more intelligent, and more adaptable, but it was also making them more aggressive, more ruthless, and more power-hungry. The scientists, initially optimistic about the potential benefits of this mutation, soon realized that it was a double-edged sword. While it offered the promise of a new era of progress and prosperity, it also carried the potential for immense destruction. As the mutation took hold, a new breed of women began to emerge, women who were not content with their peaceful existence. They were driven by an insatiable thirst for power, their ambitions fueled by the enhanced abilities bestowed upon them by the mutation. These women, known as the matriarchs, quickly seized control of society, their superior strength and intellect giving them an undeniable advantage. They established a new order, one based on domination and control, where dissent was swiftly silenced and opposition was met with swift and brutal retribution. The matriarch's reign was marked by fear and oppression. They ruthlessly suppressed any form of dissent, eliminating anyone who dared to question their authority. They imposed strict rules and regulations, controlling every aspect of society from education to healthcare. Under their iron grip, the once utopian society transformed into a dystopian nightmare, where women were no longer free to pursue their dreams but were forced to live in fear of the matriarch's tyrannical rule. The matriarch's thirst for power knew no bounds. They sought to eliminate any potential threat to their reign, purging society of those who did not conform to their vision of a perfect world. The purge was swift and brutal. The matriarch's enforcers, known as the Silent Guardians, swept across the land, apprehending and imprisoning those deemed unfit for their new order. Dissenters were silenced, rebels were executed, and anyone who dared to challenge the matriarch's authority was met with a swift and merciless end. The world watched in horror as the matriarchs unleashed their reign of terror, their fearsome power crushing any hope of resistance. It seemed as though the darkness that had been brewing beneath the surface had finally emerged, casting a long shadow over the future of humanity. Amidst the chaos and despair, a small group of women refused to succumb to the matriarch's tyranny. They formed a resistance movement, determined to overthrow the matriarchs and restore peace to the world. These women, known as the Daughters of Hope, were a diverse group representing various walks of life. They were mothers, daughters, sisters, and friends, united by their shared belief in a better future. They sought to preserve the values of kindness, compassion, and cooperation that had formed the foundation of the early utopia. Led by a young woman named Anya, whose unwavering courage and determination inspired hope in the heart of the terrified populace, the Daughters of Hope plotted their rebellion in secret. They trained in combat, devised elaborate strategies, and amassed weapons and supplies, preparing for the inevitable clash with the matriarchs. Driven by Anya's impassioned leadership and a fervent belief in their cause, the Daughters of Hope emerged from the shadows, ready to fight for their freedom and for the future of humankind. The fight for freedom was long and arduous. The Daughters of Hope, outnumbered and outgunned, faced an uphill battle against the matriarch's superior forces. They waged guerrilla warfare, launching surprise attacks, sabotaging key infrastructure, and spreading messages of hope throughout the oppressed communities. The matriarchs responded with a brutal crackdown, sending wave after wave of silent guardians to quell the uprising. Bloody battles raged across the land, leaving scores of casualties on both sides. The Daughters of Hope, despite their valiant efforts, suffered heavy losses, their ranks thinning with every passing day. Despair began to creep into the hearts of the resistance. The odds seemed insurmountable, the matriarch's power seemingly unshakable. But Anya, with her unyielding resolve, refused to give up. She rallied her weary troops, reminding them of the lives lost, the loved ones taken, and the future they were fighting to protect. As the battle reached a stalemate, a glimmer of hope emerged from the most unexpected source. A faction of scientists, who had been working in secret for years, revealed a crucial discovery, a weakness in the matriarch's DNA. The scientists had uncovered the source of the matriarch's power and aggression, a specific gene that, when deactivated, could potentially revert them back to their original state, stripping them of their enhanced abilities and insatiable lust for control. With this knowledge, the Daughters of Hope saw a new path to victory. They formulated a daring plan, to develop a weapon, a gene-altering serum that could be used to deactivate the matriarch's mutation and restore them to normalcy. Despite the risks involved, Anya and her companions embarked on a perilous journey to acquire the necessary resources and develop the serum. They faced numerous challenges, narrowly escaping capture and death on several occasions. Finally, with the serum developed and ready, the Daughters of Hope prepared for their final stand against the matriarchs. They launched a coordinated attack on the matriarch's stronghold, hoping to take them by surprise and administer the serum before they could retaliate. However, the matriarchs, anticipating their attack, lay in wait. A fierce battle ensued, exceeding any violence witnessed before. The daughters fought valiantly, but their bravery seemed futile against the matriarch's overwhelming strength. Just as hope seemed to fade, Anya, with a heart filled with determination, managed to reach the leader of the matriarchs. In a thrilling turn of events, she injected the serum into the matriarch's body, hoping against hope that it would work. Anya stood before the matriarch, a vial of the gene-altering serum clutched tightly in her hand. The silent battlefield echoed with tension as everyone awaited the outcome of this daring move. The matriarch, once a formidable force of authority and fear, stood frozen, her eyes wide with astonishment as the serum coursed through her veins. A hush fell over the battleground as hope mingled with uncertainty. Time seemed to stand still as the tension reached its peak. Would the serum succeed in reversing the mutation and restoring the matriarch to her former self, or would it backfire, worsening the situation? Anya's heart raced with a mix of anxiety and determination. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, dependent on this pivotal moment. The seconds stretched into an eternity until finally, a flicker of change passed across the matriarch's eyes. Her rigid posture softened, and a sense of bewilderment replaced the fierce determination that had defined her. A collective sigh of relief swept through the battlefield as it became apparent that the serum had indeed worked. The matriarch's enhanced abilities were neutralized, leaving her in a state of confusion, devoid of the once powerful traits that defined her dominance. But just as the moment seemed to offer resolution, a startling realization struck. A distant rumble echoed through the air, growing louder with each passing second. The ground trembled beneath their feet, and the sky darkened ominously. Anya's heart sank as a foreboding sensation enveloped her. She knew this was not the end, but merely the beginning of a new threat. A colossal rift split open in the sky, a tear in the fabric of reality itself. From its depths emerged a dark, sinister force, an entity that exuded malevolence, a force older than time itself. The Daughters of Hope and the subdued matriarchs alike turned their attention to the looming threat. It was a being that defied comprehension, a primal force intent on seizing control of this altered world. Anya's mind raced with the urgency of the situation. The victory against the matriarchs had been a monumental triumph, but it paled in comparison to the looming peril that now threatened to consume them all. In a voice filled with determination, Anya rallied her companions. "We've faced incredible odds before, and we'll face them again. We must unite and stand against this new threat together." The entity surged forward, its tendrils extending ominously toward the gathered women, radiating an eerie aura of dominance. The Daughters of Hope prepared for battle once more, their resolve unwavering. But this adversary was unlike anything they had encountered before, a formidable nemesis born from the very fabric of existence itself. Anya took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. The battle against the matriarchs had been a testament to their resilience, but this was a foe of unimaginable power and malevolence. As the entity drew closer, poised to engulf everything in its path, Anya and her companions stood resolute, ready to face the darkness head-on, knowing that their struggle for freedom and a better world was far from over. The rift between worlds loomed ominously overhead, its foreboding presence casting a shadow over the battlefield, signaling that the ultimate test of courage and determination lay ahead. The fate of humanity now rested not only on the shoulders of the Daughters of Hope but on the undaunted spirit of unity, resilience, and hope that burned within each woman standing against the encroaching darkness. And as the battlefield braced for the clash between light and shadow, the fate of this world and the promise of a better future hung in the balance, with an uncertain destiny awaiting those who dared to defy the unrelenting forces of chaos. The end. Please subscribe and comment, help us grow.